bring in Chad Robichaux, U.S. Marine veteran and founder of the Mighty Oaks Foundation. Chad, listen, I want to go back to if you were listening just now to Alexandria, the president says he's not going to visit the border. The vice president says things are going smoothly. That reminds me of back when we were leaving Afghanistan and John Kirby stood up there and told us about the gross numbers of people we evacuated and how it was such a success because of those numbers. But that really discounted the fact that many of those people weren't ones we were trying to evacuate. Many of those we weren't able to leave. 13 people died. When we look at the border, we see some similarities here.
Yeah, you know, this administration continues to give themselves A+ evaluations when the American people know the truth. I mean, we're not stupid. We know what's going on at the border. We know that tens of thousands of people are coming across. They're being handed cell phones. They're being handed the means to be able to provide for themselves when the American people are struggling every day to provide for themselves. They're being given dates to appear 5 years out. This is all has ill intentions. It's not in the best interest of Americans. It jeopardizes the security of Americans every day, the livelihoods of Americans. And it also is not the best thing for those crossing the border. I mean, this allows people to the human trafficking and the fentanyl issue to be on the border, and it just jeopardizes our border security. In addition, you know, we're seeing people who we know are bad actors and terrorists coming across the border every day.
Chad, you spent your career fighting terrorists, fighting those that would do our country harm. According to this president, though, and those that work for him, white supremacy is our biggest terror threat. Let's listen to DHS Secretary Alejandro Moreno.
The most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy.
Is that correct?
It tragically is. You know, in the terrorism context, domestic violent extremism is our greatest threat right now. Individuals driven to violence because of ideologies of hate, anti-government sentiments, false narratives, personal grievances, and the like. And regrettably, we have seen a rise in white supremacy.
But with that, Fox News reporting Border Patrol agents in the San Diego sector have arrested an Afghan national that's on the FBI's terror watch list after he illegally crossed with a group of migrants near Otay Mesa, California on Wednesday. How do we put those two things together, Chad? How can our president stand here today and say white supremacy is what's going to kill us when we have terrorists crossing the border?
Well, look, you know, any terrorist with any kind of common sense would say, how am I going to get into the United States? And right now, the southern border of the United States is the best way to get here. It's an open door. And Secretary Mayorkas, as well as most people who surround President Biden, are a bunch of yes men and cowards who have forfeited their position to protect and defend the people of the United States, to be a yes man to President Biden and say things knowingly that are not true. From the press secretary all the way to people like Secretary Mayorkas, who's in charge of very important jobs in the United States. And the irony of Joe Biden giving that speech is overwhelming. And throughout his career, he's made the most racist comments and policies of any politician in D.C. But it should be no surprise. I mean, communist leaders, which is what they want America to become, communist leaders always use racism as a tool to divide its citizens. You know, and if white supremacy is a problem, then I'd ask, what about the Taliban that we armed with billions of dollars in U.S. equipment and empowered them in Afghanistan to terrorize 40 million Afghans, to take away the human rights and sexually enslave 20 million women and wage war with U.S. taxpayers' dollars, by the way, wage war on the West with terrorism. And what about Iran, he's sought to reinstate cash flow funds for terrorism? What about MS-13, who in the drug cartels, who's coming across the border with guns in one hand and fentanyl in another?
I think the best way to sum this up, your organization spent all that time and money trying to get people who deserve to be here, who did the right thing to get here the right way. The Taliban can just cross the Mexican border. That's a little bit insane to me.
Chad Robichaux, that's atrocious.
Thank you for your service, and thank you for everything you've done to help those in need.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.